Ferrari wasn't making anyone scream, except for their own fans. And not in a good way. They were a complete joke until one man ditched his winning team for what looked like motorsport's most expensive dumpster fire. Yeah, I'm talking about Michael Schumacher, the freaking two-time world champion. Everyone thought he'd lost his mind, but his decision led to a reign of terror so soul-destroying that the FIA literally had to rewrite the rulebook just to give the other teams a fighting chance.
I can rewrite the story.
This is the story of how one man's obsession turned a laughingstock into a monster. 1995. Ferrari finishes third in the standings, just one win out of 17 races. They're 64 points behind Benetton, the constructors' champ. You only get 10 for a win. One of their drivers even failed to score a single point 14 freaking times. I mean, Michael Schumacher on the Benetton had more championship points than the Ferrari pair of Alessi and Berger combined. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. You've got to remember, Ferrari is the goddamn Vatican of motorsport. Win or lose, more people know that prancing horse than their own mother's birthday. But for over a decade, they had been a punchline. Formula One was dominated by two teams, and two teams only, McLaren and Williams. Those two were trading titles, leaving Ferrari at the wrong party. Just like your weird uncle and his inappropriate dance moves. We're talking Ferrari, people. The team of gods. Jose Frolen Gonzalez kicking it off with their first win in 51. Alberto Ascari steamrolling to back-to-back championships. John Surtees pulling a flex nobody's matched. World champ on bikes and cars. Legends built this house, and it was crumbling. And this is where Schumacher comes in. The guy who looked at this flaming wreckage and thought,
Challenge accepted.
his plan?
That is not the kind of challenge I'm looking for. I really want to fight hard for the victories.
What? Yeah, he was gunning for immortality, ready to carve his name into the Colosseum of racing lore. The dude was ready to fix problems.
I'm Winston Wolfe. I solve problems.
But there were a lot of problems. That prancing horse damn near had 3 broken legs. The car handled like a shopping cart with a wonky wheel, broke down constantly, and was slower than dial-up modem next to the Williams and McLaren. In 1995, Ferrari scraped one win. One! The 1996 car? A red painted tantrum on wheels, coughing and spluttering like it had a personal vendetta against finishing races. Before Michael, Ferrari had this stuck-up vibe. Our cars are perfect, the driver's the problem. That's why they felt alright kicking out Alain Prost in 91, even though he was a legend. Harsh, right? But when they signed Schumacher, that all flipped. Team bosses basically said, if we can't win with Michael, it's on us, not him. Ferrari bet the farm on him, offering $60 million over 2 years, a paycheck so fat it made other drivers turn to Ozempic. And Schumacher didn't roll up alone. He pulled a heist straight out of a Hollywood script, roping in Benetton's tech wizard, Ross Brawn, and design ninja, Rory Byrne, to join the circus. Either he was gonna spark the greatest comeback in F1 history, or Ferrari would crash and burn in the most expensive faceplant motorsport had ever seen. No pressure, right? So, could one German dude really resurrect Italy's sacred institution? Ferrari had this romantic notion about creating champions in-house, not grabbing them off the shelf like bargain basement specials. And here comes Schumacher, this clinical, calculating German with about as much visible emotion as a chess computer. Some fans were like, finally, a champion to save us. But others saw him as a foreign invader who didn't have the Ferrari passion flowing through his veins. One bad qualifying session and they'd throw him under the bus faster than you can say Mamma Mia. But the skeptics totally missed what had made Schumacher an absolute freak of nature on the track. See, he was basically a racing algorithm in human form. While other drivers were still processing the last corner, Michael's brain was already simulating the next 3 freaking races. Ferrari's mechanics copped it fast. Their new guy could sense a car's tiniest hiccups, a twitch in the suspension, a whisper in the gearbox, and spit out a diagnosis like he'd x-rayed the damn thing. Some nights, he'd even crash in Enzo Ferrari's old office, like a monk guarding a sacred relic. They called it the farmhouse, but for Michael, it was mission control. 1996 kicked off with Ferrari fans praying for a miracle and getting a front row seat to a street fight. Schumacher's debut was a total faceplant. Brake problems forced him to retire early. But then came Spain, a rain-soaked brawl that turned him into a legend. Barcelona. The track's so slick that drivers were tippy-toeing like they're on a tightrope, in flip-flops. Schumacher, he's in God mode. Starts third, fumbles to 6th off the line, no sweat. What happens next is straight up witchcraft. Lap after lap, he's carving through the field, 5 seconds faster than anyone else. Like he's driving a hovercraft while the rest are stuck in bumper cars. By the end, he's lapped everyone up to third. It was a public execution of the whole freaking grid. But it didn't change the fact the car had been a diva all season, breaking down more often than a soap opera marriage. Schumacher retired in 5 races. And at the French Grand Prix, he didn't even get to start. The dude snagged pole, only for the engine to cough, splutter, and die on the formation lap.
And Schumacher fails to start the French Grand Prix.
Ferrari had the fastest driver alive, but a car flimsier than Spirit Airlines lunch trays. There was one real holy crap moment though. Monza, Ferrari's home turf. Their racing cathedral. A place where they had won since 1988. When the red car took the checkered flag, it was a religious experience with tire smoke. Italian fans lost their minds, climbing fences, sobbing openly, waving flags like they were signaling aircraft. Schumacher was practically getting offers of adoption from Italian families. The guy dragged that car to third in the Drivers' Championship and hauled Ferrari to second in the Constructors. 3 wins in one season. Things were hotting up. And behind the scenes, Schumacher was rewriting the F1 playbook. The paddock was used to prima donnas who drove, waved, and split. Michael? He was the guy who knew every mechanic's name, from the chief engineer to the dude polishing the lug nuts. Birthdays, kids' names, he remembered it all. It built the kind of loyalty that became your secret weapon. His team would literally go juggernaut for him. And don't get me started on his fitness. Schumi had a resting heart rate of 40 beats per minute, while you and I are chugging along at 60 to 100. He was basically hibernating like a universal soldier, fresh out of the cryo chamber. Other drivers got chewed out by team bosses. What's this? You're not bench pressing a Fiat like Schumacher? Gerhard Berger nailed it. Michael's fitness was a royal pain in everyone's gearbox. By 1997, Ferrari's car was less of a tantrum thrower, and Schumacher was hunting bigger game. A title fight with Williams' Jacques Villeneuve. The season was a knife-edge duel, building to a final at Jerez that'd make your palms sweat. Schumacher led by one measly point. Late in the race, Villeneuve dives for the pass, and Michael, in a moment that would haunt him, turns in. Crunch! Ferrari's in the gravel, Villeneuve's still rolling. Jacques takes the crown, and 2 weeks later, the FIA drops the hammer. Schumacher's disqualified from the entire championship. They called it deliberate, but not malicious, which is kind of like saying you just tapped a Tesla in an anti-Elon rage. The dream got kicked down the road. 1998, Ferrari's closing the gap. No longer the scrappy underdog, but a legit contender. Hungary's Grand Prix was pure magic. Schumacher and Ross Brawn cooking up a plan like a pair of actual masterminds, stuck in third on the track where passing's tougher than cracking a safe. Brawn hits the radio. Michael, you have 19 laps to pull out 25 seconds. We need 19 qualifying laps from you. Schumacher doesn't blink. He delivers 19 laps of surgical precision, each one a masterpiece, and wins by 9 seconds. But 1999, through a gut punch, British Grand Prix, Stowe corner. Schumacher's brakes betray him, and he slams into the barriers, legs snapped like a twig. Ferrari's hopes? Completely shattered. Michael misses 6 races, but because he's Schumacher, he storms back in Malaysia, snagging pole like he never left. By that point, there wasn't much hope of winning anything, but he played wingman, making his teammate, Eddie Irvine, shoot for the title. Irvine falls short by 2 points to McLaren's Mika Hakkinen, but Ferrari? They bagged their first Constructors' Championship since '83. The Black Stallion was back to stomping, like Kokuo. What made Michael really special wasn't just his crazy driving, it was how he flipped the whole team mentally. Back then, engineers mostly stuck with teams like glue. Williams' Patrick Head? Dude was basically married to their logo. But Schumacher started a revolution. The engineers started following drivers around the paddock like groupies chasing rock stars. As we approached 2000, it was obvious the gamble was paying off. And the best? Oh boy, the best was yet to come. By this point, Ferrari fans were starving, like kids waiting for a pizza delivery that's 21 years late. After endless, so close moments, the team had cooked up a car that made grown dudes in their red shirts cry happy tears. In 2000, the title fight with McLaren's Mika Hakkinen was must-see TV. They were swapping wins all over the shop. Then came Suzuka, the Japanese Grand Prix. When Schumacher crossed the line, Ferrari's championship curse vanished. And even the stone-cold German lost it, tearing up in a press room after tying his hero Senna's win count. Who says Germans don't feel stuff? Then 2001 hit, and Ferrari showed up like they'd brought a rocket to a go-kart race. Schumacher nabbed his second title so easy, it felt like he was chilling on a Sunday cruise, locking it down with 4 races left. And 2002 was just rude. Schumacher sealed the championship in July. Yep, July, at the French Grand Prix, with 6 races still to go. He hit the podium every single race, 17 for 17. By this point, Ferrari was no longer the joke. I mean, he literally had almost double the points of Rubens Barrichello in second place. But 2003? Oof. That almost broke the streak. After 3 races, Schumacher was flopping at 6th, while McLaren's Raikkonen was leading the championship with 24 points. Done for? Heck no. Right before the San Marino Grand Prix, his mother passed away. But he still dug deep and won. Because that's just who he is. It all came down to the last race, and Schumacher finished 8th, which was enough to claw out his 6th title by just 2 points. So the run was coming to an end, right? No. If those first 4 wins were Ferrari clawing out of a grave, 2004 was them torching the cemetery and declaring themselves Nick Cage. Schumacher owned 13 races, obliterating his own record of 11 from 02. By August, Hungary's Grand Prix was just a formality. Ferrari locked up their 6th straight Constructors' Championship. Schumacher? He clinched his 7th driver's title at Spa, 4 races to spare. The dude had 148 points, 13 wins, and 15 podiums in 18 races. Ferrari piled up 262 constructor points, while BAR Honda, poor bastards, limped to 119. I mean, you can combine them with Renault, and they're still almost 40 points behind. Yeah, Schumacher was straight up carving his name into F1's Mount Rushmore. But the paddock was done bowing to Ferrari's reign of terror. The FIA, F1's governing body, For 2005, they flipped the script. Tyres now had to last a whole race. A gut punch to Ferrari's Bridgestone bromance. That year, Schumacher's only win came at the US Grand Prix, a clown show where Michelin teams failed over tyre safety, leaving 6 cars to race. It was less a victory, more a participation trophy with nobody around. 2006 was Schumacher's final spin in Ferrari red, and it was a wild one. 3 races deep, he's getting smoked, trailing Alonso by 17 points and looking like last week's headlines. But corner a legend like Michael? You're poking a dragon. And at San Marino, he roars back, snagging his 66th pole and smashing Senna's record. Even at 37, the old guy's still got lightning in his veins. And mid-season, Ferrari flips a switch and goes full monster mode. From the US Grand Prix through to China, they bulldoze the grid, snatching 6 wins in 7 races. Schumacher bagging 5 of them like he's collecting trophies at a carnival.
This is going to be my last Monza race I'm going to do at the end of this year.
At Monza, he drops the bomb. He's retiring. Then, only goes to win the damn race. But fate's got a sick sense of humor. In Japan, he's cruising when his engine gives out. And then comes the finale in Brazil, and the racing gods pile on. A fuel glitch in qualifying dumps him to 10th, then a puncture kicks him to 19th, 70 seconds behind, basically racing from another planet. What Schumacher do? Unleashes a comeback that had reporters losing their minds, carving through the pack to finish 4th. Yeah, his last Ferrari drive wasn't a parade, but it was a 71-lap highlight reel of everything that made him the most dominant force F1 has ever witnessed. The trouble with greatness is that you get used to it. It's the same in all sport. Federer in tennis, Ronaldo and Messi in soccer, Brady and Manning in the NFL. They make it look so easy. You kind of get used to it. You don't appreciate what you've got till it's gone. Schumacher retired, for the first time at least, that year as a 7-time world champion and an absolute icon of the sport. You could say that he created the perfect storm. One man who decided legacy was worth more than easy victories. He saved Ferrari, but he also built a juggernaut, turning them into the most ruthless dynasty F1 has ever seen.